Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Hello, One Piece enthusiasts. I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about the Gorosei, more specifically, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. Well, as of chapter 1040, I think it was 6, well, we've finally seen the Gorosei on the move, and this is the first time in existence where we actually saw the Gorosei step out of the Marijoa castle, and he's about to meet Vegapunk. Well, there's a lot of things to talk about. Well, the community have already speculated on a bunch of things, but I'm going to go into a completely different direction. And I'm going to mix and match with everything that has been said and formulate my own opinion. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. We start off with the whole concept of the Gorosei getting out of Pangaea Castle. It has never been seen. In fact, the only time the Gorosei have been seen to move out of the Room of Authority, where they always issue orders and where they talk to Shanks, Akainu, where they maybe perhaps ordered the Buster, where they ordered the destruction of Ohara. It's all been in the Room of Authority, and we've never seen them get out of there, with the one exception of meeting Im-sama. Alright. That's acceptable. That's understandable. It's within Marijoa. There's still security. They're still in the realms of celestial dragons. But we've never seen them get out of Marijoa. This is the first time ever recorded in One Piece where they actually got out of their comfort zone. They got out of their security. Granted, they do still have security like the Marines and the World Government Forces, but they're still out of their natural habitat, and this was completely unexpected, honestly. I've always expected them to stay in Marijoa until Luffy got there, destroyed the shit out of them, and then they leave Marijoa. But, oh well, that's Oda for you. Another thing I have to explicitly mention, remember, when the Celestial Dragons always get out of Marijoa, they always have that bubble on their head. Celestial Dragons, I don't necessarily mean the Gorosei, but Celestial Dragons always have that spherical bubble outside of their head. He's the only Celestial Dragon who doesn't have it. We've never seen it have. So that's insane to think about. And now, we'll get back to why he's here. The community have already speculated 2 ideas. 1, to meet Vegapunk. Duh. Obviously. Well, Vegapunk's missing, but that's another different story. But I think with the failings of CP0, I think it's sort of there's definitely some major things to talk about with Vegapunk, that one of the Gorosei had to step out of Pangaea Castle in order to meet him. Although he was sent for an assassination, they probably expected it to fail, but now he's expecting to meet Vegapunk, which creates for a very interesting conversation if it ever happens. And the second reason as to why he was there, why he's coming, is to issue the order for the Seraphims. Remember, the Seraphims have a hierarchy, and I also mistakenly said that the hierarchy orders can be changed if the Gorosei basically called through transponder snails and gave the order. That is apparently wrong. The only way you can issue order to the to the Seraphims is by directly being there within a close proximity, and that's how you issue the order, which is probably why they're coming again, which is why we're having one of the Gorosei show up. And I feel like there's another substantial, very substantial 2 reasons. 1 being the showcasing of the Gorosei's power, and 2 being maybe Luffy gets to know about his devil fruit. And the first thing I'd like to address first, because, well, thing is, Mr. Morge, specifically Mr. Morge, has said that the Gorosei probably don't have powers. And a lot of other people agree with him, that maybe they don't have the powers, they're just brains, and they're not the bod. I like to believe otherwise, because, and his justification for that being, they've always been shown to give out orders and to basically make moves for the world government, but they were never shown to have clear physical abilities, unlike characters like Shanks, Whitebeard, Garp, Akainu, every time we've seen strong characters, they've always been showing their powers. But you gotta remember, Blackbeard was strong. Blackbeard is the strongest pirate alive right now, other than Luffy. The first time we got introduced to him, we had no idea he has the Yami Yami no Mi. And in fact, if I remember correctly, even when he was chasing Luffy, he didn't have the powers. Or he didn't use the powers. Maybe he did, I'm just wrong. But my point is, there could always be exceptions. There could always be exceptions and unexpected plot lines that might show up. When you know these 5 guys are basically the people under the ruler of the world, you'd expect them to have some sort of a power. Of course, the ruler of the world being Im-sama, he definitely has his own powers, but you wouldn't expect the 5 advisors or the 5 people taking command of the orders, issuing the orders, to not have any powers. And you look at one specific example is the guy who looks like Mahatma Gandhi with the sword. I always expected that if Zoro's ever gonna fight a world government agent or any celestial, if any of the Tenryubitos, it would have to be the guy with the sword, because I think he can reveal a lot about the sword lore in the One Piece world, and he'd probably be a very substantial challenge for Zoro. With that being said, okay, clearly they might not show power, but they also might. Them being the strongest 5 people in terms of brain as well as power would make a lot of sense to me. I don't have any justifiable, solid conclusion. All I can say is anything is on the table, and I'd like to say that they're strong because other than that, well, Mr. Morges speculated that Seraphims would be going to the world government. I accept that. I think that's the only reason why the Gorosei is going there to begin with, which is to basically bring back the Seraphims, because they are, in fact, the greatest investment the world government has ever made. And they're the greatest creations the world government will ever have when fighting against Luffy and the pirates. So, with that being said, I feel like there's still a need for people like the 5 Elder Stars to have that sort of a power. And well, we'll get to see through time. Another thing being, Luffy gets to know about his ability. I am very on the fence about this. I don't agree, but I can see it happening. What makes Luffy's power special in the scheme of things is that Luffy doesn't know how it works, which makes Luffy not the strongest. He doesn't know the key to his powers, so it'll always be a mystery. He just has to figure it out by himself, and that's a challenge in and of itself. So, you see, I don't see it happening, but we might get more commentary on it. The way Vegapunk commentated on Luffy's powers, the same way we could see Saturn comment on Luffy's powers as well, and he definitely has more of an idea of what Luffy's powers are. And with that being said, now we've also made the sort of relation between, now it's been set up that the 5 Elder Stars are 5 planets in the solar system, and Luffy being the sun, Blackbeard being the moon, Im being a representative of Earth and the sea, and we also have Poseidon, Pluto, and of course Uranus, all of them representing planets in the solar system. I think that's how the lore would be set up as. And I'd like to say that, yeah, it makes sense. We've always been speculating the sun and the moon, and I've always had it in my mind that these things always sound a lot like planets, and it would have to relate to the planet somehow. This is the best way to do it, and I'm totally on board. And to finish it all off, I expect him to come, take control of the Seraphims, and of course, obviously, show his powers, if he does have any. I'd be very glad if he does. If he doesn't, oh well, it's a miss. Another clear restrictions. You people who normally watch One Piece and don't really pay attention to details, Oda has specifically made it clear, no offense by the way, Oda has made it clear that the world government and Marines are separate identities. Yes, some of the Marines do take direct orders from the Gorosei, but that doesn't mean the Marines are totally affiliated with the world government, which is why Dragon clarifies that we have nothing against the Marines or the kingdoms that are allied with the world government. We have problems with the Tenryubito themselves, which is the world government. So the Marines are separate entities. They're not the root of all evil. The root of all evil being to Gorosei, Im-sama, maybe Akainu. But that's for clarifications. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.